Row 18, plot 20.
Hey everybody, welcome to Now It's Dark. I'm Jim. Today I'm doing a movie review for a movie that uses one of my favorite numerical sequences, and it just tends to freak people out, but it's 666. The movie that I'm reviewing, I watched on Tubi. It's a Tubi/Asylum horror mystery thriller called Titanic 666. This was released on April 15th, 2022, which is coincidentally 110 years to the day of the sinking of the actual Titanic. So first, I want to give them credit for that little detail of the history of the Titanic. So this is the third Titanic ship, and it is going to be going on a maiden voyage, and, craziness ensues as you would expect with a ship called the Titanic. The little IMDb synopsis is: dark forces from the deep rise to the surface, terrorizing all aboard from Titanic 3, and threatens to repeat one of history's greatest disasters. It is directed by Nick Lyon, written by Jacob Cooney and Jason White, and it stars Kesha Sharp as Captain Celeste Rhodes, Jamie Bammer as Professor Hal, Lydia Hurst as Adina Bess, and then there are a few other characters. The most recognizable to me is Joseph Gatt. He plays Brian Andrews, and he is like this big bald guy. He was in Black Adam, and that's why I think I recognized him. That's the most recent movie, big release at the theater that he was in. But he's been in a lot of different things, like he's been in some Star Wars stuff and whatever else. So the movie opens with a flashback to the original Titanic sinking. It's kind of got a recreation of the big name blockbuster movie, but on the Tubi Asylum budget. So when you're watching an Asylum movie or a Tubi movie, you kind of have to put yourself in line with what to expect with CGI and things of that, acting quality and CGI. So my reviews probably are a little less critical of that kind of stuff because I know they're working with, B-level stuff. It's intended to be a B-level movie. So it does have a big cast, as it would for a ship. So it does the flashback sequence, and then it fades forward to modern day, 110 years to the day, and it starts we go through the process of boarding the new ship, and we are introduced to the captain and other people. The captain is having a little brief meeting with her crew, and she mentions that there are so many different people there, like mediums and cosplayers and social influencers, and my attention got perked when she said cosplayers, and but then we never saw any cosplayers. It never was a factor, or mediums for that matter. Social influencers definitely were a thing in the movie, and the two social influencers were kind of annoying, but they served a purpose. The cosplayers was maybe name dropped because it was supposed to explain why people weren't freaking out maybe when these spirits from the original Titanic were appearing. Maybe I'm just kind of giving some leniency towards an explanation. So after the meeting of kind of the crew and the main guests, we meet Lydia Hurst, played by Adina Bess. She was pretty good, actually. I think she did a good job. She's kind of a stowaway, and she's also the character that kind of does some voodoo, does some voodoo magic cuckoo-ness to bring the spirits back. Her grandmother was on the original Titanic when it sank, and she has a axe to grind with the professor, who has brought aboard the ship artifacts that he gathered from the original Titanic. So those are on display, and throughout the movie he's kind of trying to sell a lot of the stuff, and we find out that there's like a mini subplot between him and that what did I say his name was? Brian Andrews, Joseph Gott, the big bald guy. I think I might have forgot to mention he's the head of security. So him and the professor have like this little subplot where they're trying to unload these artifacts from the original Titanic, which they actually, like, they obtained them properly. I don't know why they wouldn't sell them to a museum or something else, but they waited for the opportunity to sell them to potential guests on the ship. So it was kind of a loose story, plot, subplot. But the idea is that the artifacts are, attached to their original owners that sunk with the Titanic. So I can't remember people's names for the life of me. Lydia Hurst, the granddaughter, she's using that as the way to bring back the spirits. So then we get guests slowly being picked off by various different spirits. The captain and some of the crew members start to realize something funky's going on. I wasn't big on the actress Kesha Sharp playing the captain. She just didn't exude like captain material to me, and that's not because she's a woman or because she's black, but it's because I didn't feel it at first. Toward the end of the movie, I kind of warmed up to it, and I don't know that that's her fault. It was such a odd character position to play. They do have the ghost captain from the original ship. I liked him better, but whatever. You gotta root for the bad guy. So the ship's cursed, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go into all the different kills and sequences and who's first suspects and all this kind of stuff, because, people don't at first think that there's hauntings going on. And the spirits had decent quality CGI and makeup. They had kind of an icy blue skin tone to them. And when I realized why that was, as I was watching it, I'm like, oh, because they all probably froze in the ocean. Because the Atlantic Ocean was cold. They froze. So that's why their skin color, ghost tone, is like ice blue. So that made sense. So another little detail that maybe goes unnoticed. The biggest detail, I think, was the releasing of this movie on the actual day that the ship sank. So kind of interesting. So then we get the ship is being kind of driven by the ghost spirits and everything, and then there is the big whopper surprise villain. There is like this surprise villain. Everybody will be shocked. I hope this isn't too spoilery, but there is an iceberg. There is an iceberg. And it does what an iceberg does when you're a ship called the Titanic. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I hope you enjoyed this review. It's Titanic 666, and you can find it on Tubi, like I said. Let me know your thoughts on this. Is the haunted ship subgenre of horror overplayed, or are we not seeing enough ghost ships?
So have your dream. Go on and sing your song. There's nothing wrong with singing out of tune. Just think of me